They were university sweethearts, deeply in love, until life and success tore them apart. Months passed in silence, and just when they thought it was too late, one unexpected call changed everything. Will love survive the distance, the misunderstandings, and their broken hearts? Watch till the end to discover how their love fights back against all odds. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If it moved you, share it. Comments below and let someone know you are never alone. I still remember the first day I saw Stepine. A quiet autumn morning, golden leaves covering the university path. She stood near the old library, holding books against her chest. When she smiled at me, something inside my heart changed forever. Friendship began with simple conversations, coffee after lectures, long walks across campus, dreams whispered under the soft glow of streetlights. Somewhere between laughter and silence, friendship gently turned into love. After graduation, life moved quickly. James, that is me, stepped into the busy world of work. Stepine chased her own bright career. Success arrived faster than we expected. Soon we married. Our small apartment filled with laughter, late-night dinners, and quiet mornings where sunlight rested on her face. Those days felt endless, warm, perfect. Then time began to slip away. Meetings replaced conversations. Deadlines replaced evening walks. Two ambitious hearts running in different directions. The house stayed beautiful, but silence slowly grew inside the walls. Arguments arrived like sudden storms. Sharp words. Heavy nights. One painful evening we chose separation. Months passed. Success continued to grow around me. A larger office. More money. More achievements. Yet every night felt strangely empty. One winter evening, cold wind touched my face as I walked home. Streetlights glowed through falling snow. My phone suddenly rang. Her name appeared on the screen. My heart began to race. Stepine's voice trembled softly. I miss you every morning, every night. I chased success. Yet my heart still lives with you. Silence surrounded me. The same silence that once stole our love. My voice felt heavy. I miss you too. Every day feels incomplete without your smile. Snow continued falling around me. Memories returned like warm sunlight. We met again that night. Her eyes held tears. My hands held her gently. Two people who once lost their way. Her hands trembled softly inside mine. The winter air felt cold. Yet her presence carried a familiar warmth. For a moment we simply stood there. Two hearts remembering a life once shared. Streetlights glowed above us. Snowflakes settled on her hair. Her eyes searched my face, as if trying to recognize the man she once loved. I thought success would make everything better, she whispered. Her voice carried pain, the quiet kind that grows slowly in lonely nights. I filled my days with work, meetings, endless goals. Yet every evening felt empty. Her words echoed inside my chest. I understood that emptiness. My apartment held expensive furniture. Awards rested proudly on shelves. Yet silence followed me everywhere. The silence of missing laughter. The silence of missing her. Stepine slowly walked beside me. Our footsteps pressed gently into fresh snow. The same street once held our late-night walks during our early marriage. Back then we talked about dreams. A small home near the countryside. Morning coffee together. Children running across a sunny yard. Dreams felt simple then. Now they felt distant. Yet strangely close again. She stopped walking. The cold wind brushed across the quiet street. Her eyes filled with tears. I carried anger for so long, she said softly. Her voice broke. But beneath that anger lived love waiting patiently. My heart pounded harder. Memories rushed through my mind. The first time I held her hand. Our wedding day. The warm mornings when she smiled at me across the kitchen table. I stepped closer. My voice felt gentle. Love never truly disappeared. It waited for us to remember. Her breath trembled. For a moment she leaned against my shoulder. The world around us grew quiet. Only the sound of falling snow. And two hearts slowly finding their way back. Far in the distance, the warm light of a small cafe glowed through the winter night. Stepine looked toward it and smiled faintly. That place, we used to sit there for hours, she whispered. Our eyes met again. And together we began walking toward that light. The cafe door opened slowly. A gentle bell rang above us. Warm air wrapped around our frozen hands as we stepped inside. The smell of fresh coffee and cinnamon filled the room. For a moment everything felt familiar. The same wooden tables. The same quiet corner near the window where we once spent endless evenings. Stepine noticed it too. Her eyes softened. We walked toward that corner without speaking, as if our memories guided every step. Snow continued falling outside the glass window, soft white flakes drifting through the streetlights. Inside, time felt slower. We sat across from each other. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. The silence felt different this time. Gentle, careful, almost hopeful. The waiter placed 2 cups of hot coffee on the table. Steam rose slowly between us. Stepine wrapped her fingers around the cup, warming her hands. Her eyes remained on the swirling steam. "I remember our first winter here," she said quietly. A small smile touched her lips. "You talked for hours about building a life together." Her voice carried tenderness and regret. I believed every word. Her words touched something deep inside me. Back then life felt simple. Love felt stronger than every challenge. I leaned forward slightly. "My dreams still hold you in them," I said. Her eyes lifted quickly. Surprise flashed across her face. Outside, a strong wind pushed snow against the window. Inside the cafe, golden light reflected in her eyes. She studied my face carefully, as if searching for honesty, for truth. "I felt lost after we separated," she admitted. Her voice lowered. "Work kept me busy. Yet every quiet night reminded me of you." Her fingers trembled slightly around the cup. A deep breath escaped her lips. "Sometimes I walked past this cafe alone," she continued. Her eyes moved toward the window. "I imagined you sitting right there, waiting for me." My chest tightened. The thought of her standing outside in the cold, remembering us, felt overwhelming. Slowly, I reached across the table. My hand rested gently near hers. Stepine looked down at that small distance between our fingers. A moment full of memories, full of questions, full of fragile hope. Then softly, almost carefully, her hand moved closer. Her fingers finally touched mine. A small contact, yet it felt like electricity moving through years of distance. Neither of us moved. Outside the cafe window, snow continued drifting across the silent street. Inside, warmth wrapped around us like a forgotten memory. Stepine slowly intertwined her fingers with mine. Her touch felt familiar, gentle, and painfully beautiful. For a moment her eyes closed. A deep breath escaped her lips. "I missed this," she whispered. Her voice carried truth that words rarely hold. I watched the soft light resting on her face. The same face that once greeted me every morning with sleepy smiles. Time had changed many things. Yet the quiet tenderness between us still lived. Our hands remained together on the table. Neither of us rushed to pull away. The cafe around us hummed softly with distant conversations and clinking cups. Yet our little corner felt like a world of its own. Stepine looked at me again. Her eyes held both courage and vulnerability. "I spent months thinking about where everything changed," she said slowly. Her thumb gently moved against my hand. "Success arrived, promotions arrived. Yet we slowly disappeared from each other's lives." Her words felt painfully accurate. I nodded softly. "I remember coming home late every night," I said. The house felt quiet, and instead of asking how you felt, I opened my laptop again. The memory felt heavy in my chest. Stepine listened carefully. No anger appeared in her eyes this time, only understanding. "We both chased something important," she said. Her voice softened. "But along the way, we forgot to protect the most important thing. Love." The word remained unspoken between us, yet it filled the space completely. A sudden gust of wind rattled the cafe window. Snowflakes danced wildly outside. Stepine watched them for a moment. Then her gaze returned to me. A fragile smile appeared. "James, do you remember the little house we once dreamed about?" My heart skipped. The countryside mornings, the quiet porch, the life we once imagined together. I nodded slowly. Her fingers tightened slightly around mine. "I passed by a place like that last week," she continued softly. Her eyes brightened with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. "And standing there, I started wondering what life might feel like if we dared to dream again." Her words settled gently between us. For a moment I simply watched her face, the soft glow of the cafe light resting in her eyes. Dream again. The idea felt fragile, yet powerful enough to awaken something deep inside my heart. Outside, the storm of snow grew stronger. Cars moved slowly through the quiet street. Footprints disappeared beneath fresh white layers. Inside the cafe, warmth surrounded us. Stepine slowly released one hand from mine and reached into her coat pocket. Her movements felt careful, almost hesitant. She placed something small on the wooden table between us. A folded piece of paper. The edges looked worn, as if it had traveled with her for a long time. My curiosity grew. Stepine looked down at it for a moment before speaking. "I carried this for months," she said softly. Her fingers brushed across the paper. "I wrote it on a night when the silence in my apartment felt too heavy to carry." Her voice trembled slightly. The cafe noise faded around me. My eyes remained on that folded paper. Stepine slowly pushed it closer to me. "Open it," she whispered. My heart began to beat faster. Carefully, I unfolded the paper. Inside, a familiar handwriting filled the page. Memories rushed through my mind. The way she used to leave small notes in the kitchen. Little messages hidden inside books or between work files. My eyes moved across the first line. Her words carried honesty so deep it felt almost overwhelming. Each sentence spoke about regret, about lonely nights, about love that refused to fade. Halfway down the page, my breathing slowed. One sentence held my attention completely. I looked up. Stepine watched me quietly. Her eyes searched my face, waiting for my reaction. A mixture of hope and fear lived inside that gaze. "Do you understand now why I called you tonight?" she asked gently. The paper remained in my hands. Snow continued falling outside the cafe window. And suddenly a memory flashed through my mind. A place. Promise. Something we once planned yet never finished. I lifted my eyes toward her again. "Stepine, that house you mentioned earlier." Her breath paused. "Yes," she replied softly. The quiet space between us filled with possibility. Then slowly, she leaned closer across the table. The soft cafe light touched her face. Her eyes held a quiet courage I had not seen in a long time. "What about the house?" she asked gently. For a moment I searched for the right words. Outside, the snowstorm softened. Large snowflakes drifted slowly past the window like silent memories. I unfolded the letter again. Her handwriting moved across the page with honesty that felt almost fragile. One line remained glowing in my mind. "If love still lives somewhere inside us, maybe one day we find our way home again." Home. The word stirred something deep inside my chest. I looked back at Stepine. "You never stopped believing in us," I said quietly. Her eyes shimmered slightly. "I tried to forget," she admitted. A small breath escaped her lips. "Work filled my days, noise filled my mind. Yet every quiet moment brought me back to you." Her fingers slowly moved across the wooden table, closer to mine again. The warmth of her hand touched my skin. This time neither of us hesitated. Our fingers intertwined once more. Outside, the street had grown calmer. The snow on the ground reflected the pale glow of streetlights. Stepine watched the window for a moment. "I drove past a small countryside house last week," she said softly. "A wooden porch, tall trees around it, morning light spilling across a wide field." Her voice carried the softness of a dream. "I parked my car and just sat there for a long time." She paused. Her eyes slowly returned to mine. "And suddenly I imagined you walking out the front door, holding 2 cups of coffee." The image appeared vividly in my mind. A quiet morning, open fields, her smile greeting the day. My heart beat stronger. "What stopped you from knocking on that door?" I asked gently. Stepine smiled faintly. "A strange feeling," she replied. "What kind of feeling?" I asked. She squeezed my hand slightly. "The feeling that the dream was never about the house." Her eyes held mine deeply now. "It was always about the person standing beside me inside it." Silence wrapped around us again. Soft, powerful. Then suddenly Stepine glanced toward the cafe entrance. A thoughtful expression crossed her face. "James," she said slowly, "I almost forgot something important." Curiosity rose inside me. She reached for her bag beside the chair and began searching carefully inside it. She reached for her bag beside the chair and began searching carefully inside it. The soft rustle of fabric filled the quiet space between us. My curiosity grew. Outside the window, the snowfall had almost stopped. The street looked peaceful, covered in fresh white silence. Inside the cafe, warm golden light wrapped around our small table. Stepine's fingers finally found something. She paused for a moment before pulling it out. A small silver key rested in her palm. It caught the light gently. I stared at it, confused yet strangely hopeful. Stepine watched my expression. A soft smile slowly appeared on her face. "I drove back to that countryside house 2 days ago," she said quietly. Her thumb brushed across the key. "This time I stepped out of the car." My heart began to beat faster. "The owner was standing outside," she continued. "He was an old man repairing the wooden fence." Her eyes carried the memory clearly. I asked him if the house was for sale. The cafe seemed to fall completely silent. The key remained resting in her hand. "He looked at me for a long moment," she said softly. Then he asked a simple question. Stepine leaned slightly closer across the table. Her voice lowered. "Are you planning to build a life here? Or simply escape from one?" I felt the weight of those words. "What did you tell him?" I asked gently. Stepine's eyes softened. I told him the truth. Her fingers slowly closed around the key. I said I once had a life full of love. Yet somewhere along the road I lost my way. The quiet sincerity in her voice touched me deeply. The key moved slowly across the table toward me. I told him I was searching for the courage to rebuild that life. My breath slowed. The small silver key now rested between us. "For a moment he said nothing," she continued. "Then he handed me this key and said something I have not stopped thinking about." Her eyes locked with mine. "What did he say?" I whispered. Stepine's smile carried both hope and nervous excitement. "He said..." She paused. My heart waited in the silence. A house becomes a home only when two hearts decide to open the same door. Her fingers gently pushed the key closer to my hand, and in that quiet moment, I slowly reached toward it. I slowly lifted the key from the table. It felt cold at first, but warmth spread through my hand as if it carried the memory of every moment Stepine and I had shared. Her eyes never left mine. Soft, patient, full of hope. Outside, the winter sun began to break through the clouds. Golden light spilled across the street, melting the remaining snow. It felt like the world itself was giving us permission to begin again. I took a deep breath and finally spoke. "Stepine, I understand now. Success, achievements, all of it. It meant nothing without you by my side." Tears formed in her eyes. A quiet smile touched her lips. "I felt the same," she whispered. "For months I chased everything else, thinking it would fill the emptiness. But all it did was remind me of what truly matters. Love, connection, understanding." We rose together and stepped out of the cafe. The cold wind kissed our faces, but it no longer felt harsh. It felt alive, refreshing, cleansing the long months of silence and distance. The drive to the countryside house was quiet, but not uncomfortable. Each glance exchanged was full of tenderness, gratitude, and the unspoken promise to never take the other for granted again. We arrived at the small house. The wooden porch, the tall trees, the golden morning light. It was exactly as we had imagined. Stepine held my hand as we stepped inside together. Every room felt familiar and new at the same time, filled with the potential of a life rebuilt. That day we understood something vital. Life is unpredictable. Time slips away faster than we notice, and success can blind us. But love, nurtured with patience, understanding, and sincere effort, always finds its way back if we are willing to fight for it. We worked together to make the house a home again. Morning coffees, quiet talks, shared laughter, and even tears. Everything mattered because we chose each other every day. The moral was clear. Wealth and achievement can fill your hands, but only love and shared life fill your heart. Time, patience, and forgiveness are the bridges that reunite souls meant to be together. And so, hand in hand, we began our life anew. Stronger, wiser, and deeply grateful for the journey that taught us that love is the truest success anyone can achieve.